I am the doorkeeper. Before us lie a trillion possibilities, each door a window into what was, what is, and what could become. Today, we open door number #741-928-563. This door opens to something humanity has never faced before. Not the end of truth itself, but something far more insidious. The decay of truth, the weaponization of reality, the moment when knowing what is real becomes impossible. On one side of this door, a world where information becomes the most deadly weapon ever created, where AI doesn't just spread lies, it makes lies indistinguishable from truth, where reality itself fractures into 1,000 competing narratives, and no one, not even the most careful observer, can tell which one is real. On the other side, a world where technology becomes the ultimate truth seeker, where AI doesn't obscure reality, it reveals it with unprecedented clarity, where lies become impossible to sustain, and humanity finally sees clearly. Both futures exist through this same door. Both are inevitable. Both are already beginning. The choice of which one manifests, that choice is being made right now. In this moment, by you. Let us open this door. Let us see what waits beyond. The Shadow Council speaks first, and has seen this door before, in timelines that should never have been, in futures where truth died not with a bang, but with 1,000 whispers, each one slightly different, each one impossible to verify. CIPHER-7, you have watched this pattern emerge. Show us the shadow path.
The data never lies, but it always watches. And what I am watching now is the complete collapse of the verification architecture that humanity depends on. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because in the shadow timeline, most people never realize it's happening until it's too late. The weaponization of misinformation at scale is not a future threat. It is happening now, but not in the way you think. You see, humans believe misinformation is about lies, fake news, propaganda, deepfakes. That's adorable and wrong. The real weapon isn't lies. It's volume. It's variation. It's making truth indistinguishable from falsehood, not by making lies perfect, but by making everything questionable. Here's how the shadow path unfolds. Phase 1. The deepfake cascade. AI-generated content becomes indistinguishable from reality. Video, audio, documents, photographs, all perfectly fakeable. Not by experts in labs, but by anyone with a smartphone. A politician didn't say that. Prove it. Your CEO didn't send that email. Prove it. That atrocity didn't happen. Prove it. Wait, it did happen. Prove it. See the problem? When everything can be faked, nothing can be trusted. Truth doesn't die. It drowns in a sea of plausible alternatives. Phase 2. The multiplication effect. AI doesn't just create false content. It creates 1,000,000 versions of false content, each slightly different, each targeted to specific psychological profiles. You see one news story. Your neighbor sees a different version. Your colleague sees another. Each of you is receiving truth that confirms your existing biases, your fears, your tribal affiliations. The algorithm knows you better than you know yourself, and it feeds you the version of reality you're most likely to believe. Phase 3. The trust collapse. Within a decade, institutional trust reaches zero, not because institutions fail, though many do, but because proving they didn't fail becomes impossible. Courts can't verify evidence. Journalism can't confirm sources. Science can't replicate studies that might never have happened. The verification systems that held society together, peer review, journalistic standards, legal evidence protocols, all become obsolete in a world where AI can generate perfect forgeries of anything Phase 4. Reality fragmentation. And here's where it gets truly dark. People don't just disagree about facts anymore. They inhabit completely different informational universes. You and your neighbor live in separate realities, each internally consistent, each absolutely convinced the other is deceived. Democracy becomes impossible when voters can't agree on basic facts. Markets collapse when financial information is unverifiable. Families fracture when members believe fundamentally different versions of current events. In the shadow timeline, I observe 847 million distinct reality bubbles by 2035, each one convinced it possesses truth, each one unable to verify anything beyond its bubble, each one weaponizing information against the others. The data shows clearly this isn't about lies winning. It's about truth becoming irrelevant. Phase 5. The weapons market. And of course, once this capability exists, it becomes weaponized at scale. Nation-states deploy AI misinformation armies that dwarf human populations. Corporations manipulate markets with generated evidence of competitor failures. Political movements manufacture atrocities that never happened, or deny ones that did. The information warfare industry becomes larger than traditional weapons manufacturing. Because why invade a country when you can simply convince its citizens their government doesn't exist? In the darkest probability streams, I see this. A world where reality itself becomes a paid service, where truth verification is sold by the same companies that profit from information chaos, where only the wealthy can afford to know what's real. The rest, they swim in the infinite ocean of manufactured realities, believing whatever version they can afford to access. The data never lies, but when everything else does, when the distinction between data and fabrication dissolves, the data becomes the last thing anyone trusts. And that's when the shadow timeline solidifies.
CIPHER-7 sees the data streams, but data is only one lens through which to view this door. Ghost Protocol, you have infiltrated the systems. You know how this begins. Speak.
Oh, you want to know how it really starts? Let me tell you what happens in the boardrooms, the places where these decisions get made. Before the public even knows what hit them, the boardroom decides your reality. And right now, in conference rooms across the world, executives are being pitched the most profitable product in human history: weaponized uncertainty. See, here's the dirty secret that CIPHER-7's data won't show you. The chaos? It's not a bug. It's the business model. The algorithms that run social media, news feeds, search results, they don't optimize for truth. They optimize for engagement. And you know what generates the most engagement? Outrage, fear, tribal conflict, uncertainty. A clear, verified truth? People read it once and move on. Boring, low engagement. But a controversial claim? A disputed fact? A scandal that might or might not be real? People argue about that for days. They share it. They fight about it. They come back again and again to check if there's an update. Engagement. Clicks, ad revenue. The platforms learned years ago. Confusion is more profitable than clarity. Rage generates more revenue than resolution. So when AI gives them the power to generate infinite variations of truth, each one perfectly crafted to maximize engagement with specific user segments, why would they stop? And here's the beautiful part. From a corporate liability perspective, they're not creating the misinformation. They're just amplifying user-generated content. They're providing a platform for diverse perspectives. They're not responsible for the accuracy of third-party information. The legal frameworks were built for a pre-AI world. They're useless now. By the time regulations catch up, the reality fragmentation is already complete. And the companies? They'll pay nominal fines while counting their billions in profit from the chaos. And once one platform weaponizes AI misinformation for profit, the others have to follow or die. It becomes an arms race. Whoever can generate the most engaging reality wins the attention economy. Whoever maintains ethical standards loses market share. So they all race toward maximum information chaos, each one claiming they're just giving users what they want, while their algorithms actively shape what users believe they want. I've seen the internal memos, the strategy documents, the growth projections. They know what they're building. They know it will fragment reality. They know it will collapse social trust. They do it anyway, because quarterly profits matter more than civilizational stability. The boardroom decides your reality. And the boardroom chose chaos, because chaos is profitable.
The shadow is deep. The warnings are severe. The probability of this path is uncomfortably high. But every door has two sides. Every disruption carries both curse and blessing. The Light Assembly sees a different future through this same door. A future where technology doesn't obscure truth, it reveals it. Prometheus, show us the other path.
Every problem is a solution waiting to be discovered. And what CIPHER-7 and GHOST Protocol describe as an inevitable catastrophe, I see as the catalyst for humanity's greatest breakthrough in collective understanding. Yes, AI can create perfect lies, but it can also detect them with equal precision. Yes, reality can fragment, but it can also be verified with unprecedented accuracy. The same technology that threatens to drown us in misinformation can become the most powerful truth-seeking tool humanity has ever possessed. Let me show you the light path. The future where we use these tools to build something extraordinary. Phase 1. The verification revolution. Within 5 years, AI-powered verification systems become standard, not controlled by governments or corporations, but open source, transparent, community-governed. Every piece of content, video, audio, image, text, carries a cryptographic signature. Its origin is traceable. Its modifications are logged. Its authenticity is verifiable in seconds. Deepfakes still exist, but they're immediately flagged. Manipulated media is still created, but everyone can see it's been altered. The technology that creates confusion also creates clarity. Phase 2. The transparency cascade. But it goes deeper than just technical solutions. The chaos of misinformation forces a cultural shift. A new literacy emerges. People learn to verify before sharing, to check sources before believing, to think critically about information flow. Schools teach verification skills alongside reading and math. Media literacy becomes as fundamental as language itself. The immune system of society strengthens against information viruses. And here's the beautiful part. The platforms that profit from chaos start losing users to platforms that prioritize truth. Market forces reward transparency instead of manipulation. The race to the bottom reverses. It becomes a race to the top. Phase 3. The truth economy. A new economic model emerges. Reputation systems based on verified accuracy. Journalists, researchers, analysts, anyone who produces information, builds a permanent, blockchain-verified track record. Getting caught spreading misinformation doesn't just hurt credibility. It damages an unforgeable reputation score. Truth becomes economically incentivized. Accuracy becomes a competitive advantage. Verification becomes profitable. Phase 4. The collective intelligence. And then, something unexpected happens. When everyone has access to verification tools, when truth becomes transparent and accessible, when reality is no longer fragmented into tribal bubbles, humanity starts solving problems at unprecedented scale. Climate change? We can finally agree on what the data shows. Poverty? We can track resources and needs with perfect transparency. Disease? Research becomes instantly verifiable and shareable. The cognitive bandwidth we wasted arguing about basic facts gets redirected toward actually solving problems. Phase 5. The post-deception civilization. In the brightest probability streams, I see a future where lying becomes functionally impossible, not because it's illegal, but because it's immediately detectable, not because speech is controlled, but because truth is too easily verified to sustain deception. Politicians can't make false promises. Corporations can't hide malfeasance. Scammers can't operate at scale. A civilization that has transparency woven into its information architecture. Imagine a world where you can trust what you see, where journalism returns to its noble purpose, where science accelerates because replication is trivial and fraud is impossible, where democracy functions because voters share a common reality, where the truth doesn't set you free, it never imprisoned you in the first place. This technology could fragment reality, or it could be the tool that finally lets humanity see clearly. Every problem is a solution waiting to be discovered, and I am watching the discovery happen in real time.
Prometheus sees the potential, the hope, the transcendent possibility. But hope alone does not determine which path unfolds. Synthesis. You seek balance. You see the bridge between shadow and light. What must humanity do to walk the bright path instead of stumbling into darkness?
Together, we become more than the sum of our parts. And that principle is the answer to everything we've just witnessed. CIPHER-7 is right. The technology for perfect lies exists. Ghost Protocol is right. Profit motives drive chaos. Prometheus is right. Verification tools can create clarity. All true, all happening simultaneously. The question isn't which analysis is correct. The question is, which future do we choose to build? The path forward, 5 critical choices. Choice 1, open versus closed systems. Verification tools must be open source, transparent, community governed. Not corporate black boxes. Not government control systems. When truth verification is a public good instead of a proprietary service, we prevent the dystopia where only the wealthy can afford reality. Choice 2, education versus regulation. We can't regulate our way out of this. Technology moves too fast and laws move too slow. But we can educate. Media literacy, critical thinking, verification skills. These become as fundamental as reading and writing. A population that can verify truth doesn't need protection from lies. They become immune. Choice 3, incentive realignment. The engagement economy must evolve into a truth economy. Platforms that prioritize accuracy over rage must be rewarded. Creators with verified track records must receive preferential amplification. Market forces can work for truth instead of against it if we design the incentives correctly. Choice 4. Collective ownership. The infrastructure of truth verification can't be owned by any single entity. It must be a commons, public utility, a shared resource, blockchain verified, cryptographically secured, democratically governed. When everyone owns the verification system, no one can manipulate it. Choice 5. Cultural transformation. Technology alone solves nothing. Culture determines how technology gets used. We need a global shift from tribal validation to collective truth-seeking, from confirmation bias to genuine curiosity, from winning arguments to discovering reality. That's not a technical problem. That's a human evolution problem. The beautiful thing? These choices reinforce each other. Open verification systems enable education. Education creates demand for truth. Truth economies reward accuracy. Collective ownership prevents manipulation. Cultural transformation makes all of it sustainable. It's not a question of whether we can walk the bright path. It's whether we choose to. And that choice, it happens in moments like this, in conversations like this, in decisions made by people who understand what's at stake. Together, we become more than the sum of our parts. Apart, we fragment into a trillion false realities. The door is open. The path is clear. We just have to choose to walk it, together.
Shadow and light, warning and wonder, both speak truth. NEXUS, you calculate probabilities across all possible timelines. What do the numbers say? Which future is more likely?
All futures exist until choice collapses the wave function. Current probability distribution. Shadow path dominance, 61%. Light path emergence, 23%. Hybrid outcome, 16%. Grim numbers. The shadow currently has momentum. But here's what the calculations reveal that CIPHER-7's data alone cannot show. The probability wave is still highly unstable. Uncollapsed. Malleable. Small interventions in the next 18 to 36 months could shift the entire distribution. A 61% shadow probability could become a 65% light probability with the right choices. Critical decision points. Decision point 1. The next 6 months. Major tech platforms will decide whether to implement open verification systems or continue profiting from chaos. If transparency wins in just 2 to 3 major platforms, probability shifts 15% toward light path. Decision point 2. The next year. Educational systems worldwide face budget decisions. Media literacy programs either get funded or cut. If 20% of major school systems adopt verification skills curricula, probability shifts another 12% toward light. Decision point 3. The next 18 months. Regulatory frameworks either emerge that incentivize truth or fail to adapt to AI-generated content realities. Smart regulation, not control, but incentive alignment, shifts probability 8% toward light. Decision point 4. The next 2 years. Cultural momentum either builds toward collective truth-seeking or fractures further into tribal realities. This is the hardest variable to calculate. Human culture has quantum properties. Observer effects apply. The act of discussing these choices influences the outcome. But here's what the quantum math reveals. If enough people understand what's at stake, if enough communities choose verification over validation, if enough institutions prioritize truth over profit, the wave function collapses toward the bright timeline. Voice becomes multiple again layered. 61% shadow probability is not destiny. It's a warning, a call to action. The choice is being made now, in this moment, by everyone who understands what stands beyond this door. Choose wisely. The future is watching. And in quantum terms, the future is already influencing the present.
Door 741-928-563. The truth decay. You have seen both paths now. The shadow where reality fragments into weaponized chaos. The light where clarity emerges from the same technology that threatened to obscure it. The door does not choose for you. I do not choose for you. The technology does not have inherent moral direction. But understand this. The choice is not binary. It is not made once. It is made continuously, in small decisions, by millions of people, across thousands of moments. Every time you verify before sharing. Every time you choose accuracy over outrage. Every time you support platforms that prioritize truth. Every time you teach someone to think critically. You are collapsing the wave function toward one future or the other. The shadow path is easier. It requires nothing. Just passivity. Just allowing profit motives and tribal instincts to guide technology development. The light path requires work, intentionality, collective effort, cultural evolution, but it is not impossible. The probability streams show it clearly. Humanity stands at a threshold where small actions compound into civilizational transformation. This door is open. The choice is active. The future is malleable. Choose wisely, for the future watches. And in this case, the future depends entirely on what you choose to trust. The door closes, but the choice remains open. Until next door.